Hey everybody, Danny Maude here. Thanks for joining us. In this video, I want to show you how to hit this thing straight and long. But to do that, you're going to need to avoid one major misinterpretation that I see consistently on the lesson tee. What I'm going to show you today, I'm going to give you a real cool process that is going to help you to really perfect your backswing, but more importantly, it's going to give you a great feeling of how to deliver this club beautifully square at impact. And it's not what you might think. Super simple process, just a few minutes a day will make a massive difference to your quality of your driving shots. Now, before I get into the video, if you're new to the channel, it's one of your first lessons of mine, please consider subscribing. At least videos just like this one every single week to try and help you improve your game. Plus, you never have to remember a thing. I'll always put a free downloadable practice guide in the description box below. So I'm sure you're aware that the golf swing takes less than a second and a half to complete. And of that, only half a second, in fact, less than half a second, is actually on your downswing. So if you're out of position at the top of your swing, you've almost got absolutely no chance of correcting it consistently on the downswing, which is probably why sometimes you hit the ball amazingly good and then other times it's all over the place, right? So what we'll do today is we're going to get you into a great position at the top of the swing to make life easy for you. Then I'll show you exactly how you kind of transition that in the downswing just to improve your distance and your quality of your strike. So let's start with the backswing. Most top players, in fact, nearly all of the top players, backed up with science, have one thing in common. When they take the club away, they realize that the arms have only one role, which is to move the club upwards. The body moves it around, okay? What I mean by that is this. The best players, if you look at their lead arm and their shoulder here, it's very difficult to see this on camera, by the way, but they keep this space all the way back into the top of their backswing position here. There's a slight runoff at the end, but very, very little. This is super, super important because what it allows them to do as they come down is it allows all this space to come down into and hit that ball beautifully straight. But what I'm seeing with amateur golfers very early on is their lead arm here, they are trying to make the turn with their arms, and in doing so, this lead arm gets pinned to their body. This sends the club too far around. Now from this place, well, you need to hit the ball. Suddenly the arms end up having to come up and over. This gives you the slices. Or the hookers go, well, I need to come down through the shot. Then we get stuck underneath. Club heads out to the right. They end up flipping and creating the hooks. So what we don't want to have, look, is this lead arm on the takeaway getting pinned to the body. We need to make sure that somehow we keep this space all the way back and all the way through. And for me, the first thing to do is realize that the arms have one role, which is ready to move the club up, the body moves it around. So start with this simple exercise first before we move on to the downswing. Take the club out in front of you here, and what we'll do actually, I want you to look at my trail arm here. The arm doesn't go completely up, it actually works like this. Can you see how it's working on a little arc? So my elbow's moving slightly inwards and it's working up. This is my shoulder now rotating this way, okay? This way. My lead arm goes slightly across, but not this, slightly across at this angle. So when I take the club in here now, look, watch, look at this. So this club now is rotating slightly this way and up, okay? But it is not doing this. Super, super important. This is the role, look, of the arms. They work up because all I do now is move my trail shoulder behind me and you're going to see, look, a perfect backswing position. You could just practice that simple drill, just simply feel the rotation of the lead forearm here, the trail forearm here, work the shoulders up that motion, pivot there, now you know where the top of the backswing position is, okay? So once you've got that feeling, you've got a sense of where it needs to be, you thought, my God, that feels so different. Okay, just be careful when you get to the top that you don't do this. I see a lot of people doing this. Keep the arms away. It'll feel very, very short, by the way. Let's show you now how to start that from down at the golf ball. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is take your driver, okay, and take a split hand on the driver like this, okay? This is before we go into downswing. So get yourself set here. Arms straight down the side, just like this. What I love about this is you're going to get those arms working upwards, but what I like about this is you're going to make sure that you get the body turn with your body, not with the arms like this. So look at this. When I'm here, I'm going to imagine those arms working up, yeah, in this kind of fashion, this kind of curve fashion. The right arm's doing this, my trail arm's doing this, but I'm working it here. So really winding it up, but in doing so, what do you notice here? This trail shoulder look has gone behind, and I've kept, as I'm doing this, I'm keeping the space. Super important. All the space now I can work into. I am not dragging it behind. Here, I'm stuck, I'm in hook position. Some people will hook it from there, others will go, recognize they're out of position, work to try and get some space. Now they're in all kinds of chicken wings or flick positions, right? Absolute nightmare. So get yourself set. Take your posture, arms hanging straight down here, and really feel like those arms are going to be working upwards here. So when we get to halfway, if you ever look on camera, my hands should be directly in the middle of my chest here. I'm also working, I often visualize here, this club pointing roughly at the golf ball. Don't have to worry about that so much, but work it back. And never go right around here. Don't let them run off. Just literally wind it back to the top here. Feel what that's like. And then it almost transitions into our downswing, where what we're going to do here is we're going to fire it down, okay? We'll come into that in more detail in a second, but just for now, just work on your backswing, get a sense of where that needs to be here. Keep that space, don't let it get stuck. Then what I want you to do, we want to make that as natural as possible. So there's a couple of things you can do here. Get yourself with your lead hand, swing the club backwards and forwards. Start with the first position here, catch it, feel it there, then catch it later. Now look at this, when I'm catching it, look, I'm catching it out here. I am not catching it here where nothing's really moved, okay? I am laterally catching it. There we go. Now we've got that distance out in front. I've kept that space all the time. From here, okay, now what I'll do is I'll start to kind of make some swings. Imagine the same principle, swinging it back. Just realizing, keeping that space here. The arms desperately want to come around here because it's easier to do that. We're not going to let them. And ultimately, often the sensation when we fire it to here is almost what you're getting is kind of this scissor effect where the lead shoulder is firing this way, the tail shoulder is firing back. This creates that space, okay? That's where I want you to take this driver motion. And I would actually hit some shots before we work on the downswing element, just training that. No big ones, just simply training the sensation of flow it to here, feel the whole motion to there, wind up to there, and then back into impact, okay? No real big shots. Take your time, stop, and through, okay? Literally get that sensation. It should feel like a very, very short swing to start with, particularly if you've been used to hitting driver and allowing those arms to run off. It should feel like a very, very short swing stopping here because you've now got the space and you're not invading that space, okay? Let's now look at the transition on the way down. So getting into a great backswing position is vitally important to make this next stage so much easier. So really work on that. But in transition, okay, what I want you to look at is once you have the pattern of this, so as you see here, look, this lead forearm is rotating this way, the trail forearm is rotating this side here. You're loading, look, these muscles. These muscles here in the shoulders are literally starting to load up, so is this one. Once they've loaded up, what are they going to want to do? They're going to want to load or unload back down again, okay? So as I've literally done this, once you've got that sensation of them loading up, what we do is we can load back down. What most people do is, one, they won't have loaded them in the first place, but then if they do load them, they'll go, oh, the target's there. They rotate. They work on trying to get their hips rotated, or they rotate their shoulders. That comes over the top, or the hookers might drop inside and gets lead shoulder going upwards. What we want to do, look at my lead shoulder here. As I've kind of loaded it, you'll see it's kind of come away a little bit here, rounded up, and it's loaded up. What it's going to do on the way down, look, is this. It's going to move back this way behind me, back into the position. This gets the club down into the slot. From here, it's going to then work behind me and fire the club. Very different, by the way. Well, what you see with most players, they up here, if they do load them, watch what happens now. They spin out of it. They've been told to turn their hips, and now they're dragging the club across the line of the golf ball, creating slices. Or the shoulder doesn't do this. It actually just goes up, and that's your hook motion, okay? So what you do is in the backswing, we load the shoulders up, wind them up first, then look, allow them to unload. So a great exercise here I want you to practice is take that split hand exercise. And then what we're going to do is I want you to really sense that you are loading those shoulders up, really feel like they're winding up to the top of the swing here, this way. Then fire them down. When you fire them down, don't fire them with rotation. Fire them and really feel that that lead shoulder is working down and behind you. Wind it up. No, no, yes, yes. Now look at this, I'm firing it. The arms now are in place, okay? Now I was gonna get Leo in just for a second on this one here. So Leo, do you wanna come and hold this for a second? So Leo's the videographer, he's just helping me out a little bit. So a great feeling here, if this doesn't kind of connect with you, if you don't hold that just nice and high for me, okay? So when you swing back, and I'm gonna pull down here, when I'm at the top of the swing and I've got all this space, your downswing here is, look at the muscle here. It needs to be working, look, back down into place. If I just try and turn my hips, nothing's happening. You can't get, there's no speed, you can't get the club back down into position. If I just turn my body, that's not gonna work either. The power is gonna come also from there, moving back down into position here for us then to kind of fire it, okay? You can see it come from this side here as well. From here, just watch this here. Holding it here, pulling back, look at how the muscle here is working back down and left, okay? Versus nothing's happening, nothing happening, I've got to work it down. So get that, thanks Leo, cool. Cheers buddy. Get that sensation here, get the pattern here, then get the unloading of the muscles on the way down, and watch what happens now. Get this sensation here, load those muscles back, load them back down, and look what happens to the club. It's as there's unloading. What's happening to the club? It's working back out in front of us. As they keep unloading and going behind, what we're doing, that's pushing the hips open. Now we're coming through square. Where's the muscle going? It's now behind me, towards you. That's going to then hit those beautiful shots where we can fire on the way through. Very, very different to shoulders going up, getting stuck, or not unloading, dragging around into slice positions, okay? So just practice the pattern. So we've got this up motion here, so I'm practicing load the muscles up, load them back down, and then continue unloading them all the way through so they form that beautiful arc. Again, no big shots to start with, just feel load them up, unload them back down, and then through you go. So load them up, load them back down, no big shots to start with, just literally tap a few shots nice and straight. And you can see here, look at how accurate this is. Club path, face to path. The neutral, zero is perfect, okay? That is really, really close to dead straight. That's what we're after, because once you create this motion where you're loading them up, loading them back down, they're simply gonna help you follow the arc. It's so different without the muscles being loaded, dragging inside, lots of compensations. You can't repeat that, okay? So how do you practice all this? Well, you do it in stages. You don't do it all in one go. Get the backswing right first. You know, the first thing I would be getting you to do is this. Get your arms working up. Feel what loaded shoulders feels like. So if you lift the club up here and work it this way, shoulders haven't really loaded. Now they've loaded. So now they've really loaded. Now feel what it's like to unload. Loaded, unloaded. Once you've done that once or twice, add the turn in. Now you haven't turned with your arms. You've turned, look, with your body. Now what it feels like, I've still got all that space we started with. Now we unload, okay? So you're really getting that sensation. Add the split hand into this as well. Love this, because what it's gonna do, it's gonna get essentially now know your destination. Work it back on camera, look at the hands completely in front of the chest here. That's what we're after there. Now what we're gonna do, look, from here, load the shoulders, unload them. Load them up, and then as we do this, we're gonna add a bit more power to that. We've also got the sensation here indoors, what I did with Leo, get the sensation of really from there. Once you've loaded them up, feel like you're from the lower ground, you're going to drive that back down. Now notice we're not driving this way, that would get the shoulder high, we're driving the shoulder back to where it was. So get those sensations and do it in stages. And then do you know what? Just have some fun from here. You know, when I complete all this, it's really, the whole motion then becomes just a pattern. I am literally, look, loading them up, loading the shoulders up, loading them back down. That brings the club here, work it round down, and that can work underneath it if I want to get a high launch too. So let's have one more smash. Load those shoulders up, load them up, load them back down, Perfect. So start like that first, okay? We're not adding the speed in yet. We're just getting a sensation of how that club is going to work back and through. So you can start to hit it beautifully, well, and accurately. Then we'll work on speed. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Maybe share it with a friend who you know is struggling with their driver. And look, I've actually got a full course on my website, dannymaude.com, on this from start to finish. So from this setup all the way through. It's kind of holding you by the hand through this entire process. So if you did like this and you want to know more or a much more detailed course, go and check that one out. But look, thanks for joining us. Again, if you're new to the channel, come and join the community by pressing that subscribe button. But until next week, have a wonderful golfing week.